Hi, I'm Leah.
I'm Holly.
I'm Hannah.
I'm Chloe.
And I'm Charlie.
And we're the best 2021 Envirothon team. Now let's get right into this presentation.
Alright, so for the first slide we got Straight Lake. The current water quality is very good for swimming and wading, and it's got some low algae levels, which in turn is helping the clarity of the water. The long-term trends is the clarity of the water is decreasing. Comparison to other lakes, it is 49% clearer waters than other lakes in the county. So as you can see, the picture on the left is showing the water clarity for the last 30 years. As you can tell, in recent years it has been trending downwards. This could be caused by more algae getting into the waters and fertilizers. So the picture on the right is a Secchi disc, and that is used to determine the clarity of the water. So as you can see, the guy in the boat is dropping it down farther and farther into the water, and as it goes deeper, it becomes less clear to see. Alright, so to the left of the slide, there is kind of a map of Straight Lake. It's located in Becker County, Minnesota. The lake area is 423 acres. The deepest point of Straight Lake is 63 feet, actually, which is really deep, actually, if you think about it. And to the right, we have a picture of Straight Lake, and that's just a picture of the water. So the Pineland Sands Area Aquifer is an area that is a glacial outwash area characterized by fine to coarse-grained sands and gravels, which are all well drained. The sandy soils infiltrate a significant amount of precipitation, making them important groundwater recharge areas. The water in this aquifer is chemically suitable for irrigation. Some trends in this aquifer is the rise of unsustainable sales, which is harming the aquifer because farming isn't good for them, but the farmers like to use this land since irrigation is good. The deforestation is rapidly happening in the western Minnesota area, which is affecting the Pineland Sands Area Aquifer, and the DNR protection of wild animals is going up. So currently some threats to the water quality in Straight Lake are from contaminated runoff, erosion, and sediment. There is too much salt, and then there are some invasive species in this lake. Some current threats to the water quality in Pineland Sands Area Aquifer is that there is a risk of this land being sold as farmland since the irrigation is so good, which will then end up in loss of forest habitat and reduce access to the public lands of management and recreational purposes. So as you can see, the trends and threats for this aquifer are the same since some of the trends are so threatening.
Some recommendations to improve or maintain your shoreline include do not dump new sand on your beach and do a natural beach. The new sand can seriously affect the habitat of fish, birds, frogs, and aquatic insects. Make waterfront equipment as unobstructive as possible. Avoid structures that require much tree clearing or filling. Ways to maintain and improve your lawn care. Minimize the use of pesticides, herbicides, and fertilizers. They can run off the lawn and harm the lake. Think twice before putting in a lawn. You may not need one in a lake setting. It's important to maintain a wide buffer zone of natural vegetation. Some options for restrictions when selling or passing down land. If a new addition is added, it must meet the horizontal setback and vertical elevation. This is to avoid damage if the lake rises dramatically within the future. Do not put a road or wide path down to the lake. If you do, it must curve around any of the trees to preserve natural vegetation, and consider a wooden staircase rather than a road. What is a better option to have around the lake? If there is a wetland, do not alter or drain it. Wetlands serve as a vital role not only for fish and wildlife, but also for pollution filtration and flood control. They cannot sell the land for commercial or business purposes. Businesses, especially large ones, are not environmentally friendly. They let out lots of pollution and garbage, which will harm the lake.
This next slide is talking about the tolibis in danger. So the ciscos, which is another name for tolibis, is a main source of prey for walleye, northern pike, and lake trout. Some threats to these fish include changes in land use and climate change. Cisco thrive in cold and well-oxygenated waters.
Due to the water oxygen levels lowering and the temperature in the lake rising, it causes lots of danger to these animals because it's hard for them to survive.
So, to go along with the last slide, this is a picture of the Cisco fish, or also known as the tolobee.
So now I'm going to be talking about the status of these fish and the recommendations that we have to promote healthy population. So the status of them right now is it's really low. They have a low count and their population is slowly deteriorating. Like we talked about earlier, this is due to the fertilizers running off in the lake and the temperature changes that the fish just can't uphold these changes. So some recommendations that we have to promote healthy Cisco population. The first one is don't use lawn fertilizers that run off into the lake. When it rains and just in general, they can run off and they're really toxic to the fish and they just can't stand that fertilizer. Do not remove weeds from the lakes. The fish actually need them. It's a source of habitat. It can even be a source for food too. Don't use pesticides excessively, which also may run into the lake. Keep vegetation close to the edge. Don't plow near the edge of the lake to avoid erosion. And you don't want the lake to fill in. We want to keep a nice habitat for these fish. And lastly, don't litter or put unwanted substances into the lake. It can be really toxic for these animals.
In conclusion, it is important to be aware of what substances you are putting on your lawn.
Putting these harmful things in the lake can reduce the clarity and quality throughout the water.
The pollution in the lake is damaging the oxygen levels and in turn is killing off the Cisco population.
Thank you for taking the time and listening to our presentation.